Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I hope the day and the sessions have been going great. Sounds like there's been a lively exchange during the sessions and in the chats. So hopefully you will all be just as chatty here. Our only rules of engagement are if a fly lands on your head, it is not allowed to stay there for longer than 2 minutes. And maybe the person that puts the best meme, GIF, Twitter post, link in the chat for the fly will get some Northeastern swag after the event. So have at it. We have some amazing panelists. I thought what we would do is a quick round of introductions, and then we will dive into a conversation. I will leave time at the end for questions. You don't need to leave your questions until the end. Please feel free to post comments, questions, chat with each other throughout the event. So without that, and without further ado, I will introduce myself and then we'll go around to the other panelists. My name is Hillary Michael, and I am the Dean and Regional CEO of Northeastern University for our San Francisco and San Jose campuses. We are a top 50 university that is based in Boston, but we are building a global university network. And so in addition to the 600 graduate students that we have on the ground here, we have campuses in Toronto, Vancouver, Charlotte, Seattle, London. Ricardo, did I miss anything? I think that's all of them. I am a Silicon Valley native. I have been working in tech for 25 plus years. I won't tell you exactly how long, but I have been here since, I don't know, we like to say we created the consumer internet when I was at Netscape, Shutterfly, Yahoo. So I've really seen the highs and lows in the Valley and have been on the industry side for my whole career. So like many of you probably in this session, and actually I'd love to see in the chat where you guys are all in your life and career stage, I have become a career evolver. I don't call it a switcher. So moving from the industry side to take a role as Dean and CEO is a big shift. But as we'll all talk about, these are the types of career changes that we're all embracing. So why don't I start with you, Ricardo? And if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Yes, thank you, Hillary. I'm the director of the data science programs in the Silicon Valley and San Francisco. I am a native from Chile, so my native language is Spanish. Then I did my PhD at the University of Waterloo in Canada a long time ago, and I will not say how long. And I'm basically a data scientist for the last 30 years. I already said it then. And I have been living in many countries. So before coming to the US 6 years ago, I was in Barcelona for 10 years. And before I also lived in Australia, New Zealand. So I have been in many places. And of course, Canada, where I did my PhD. So I will share my experience here. Thank you.
Fantastic. Jose.
Oh, thank you for. I'm pleasure to be here. In my case, my background is computer science. I'm the director of the Master in Cybersecurity, and my career started in. I am originally from Spain. That's where I did my master, and then I did my PhD between Spain and UK. After that, I came to San Francisco for a year in 2000, so a long time ago, too. And then back in Spain, back to here to Boston at MIT, and now I'm in Northeastern. So happy to share my career or any thoughts that I can help you with.
Fantastic. Let's move over to Paula.
Hi, my name is Paula Quevedo. I'm a current student at Northeastern University. I'm doing a master in computer science. My former background is in 3D modeling for games and graphic design. So yeah, hey everybody.
And last but not least, Pablo.
Hi, I'm an alumni of the Northeastern Computer Science Master's Program. I entered through the Alliance program specifically. And before that, I was a failed economist. Was really interested in working in economics. turns out it's not an easy thing to break into. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of accounting jobs, and I got tired of it, and I wanted to see what else I could do. So ended up in the program. Currently, I'm employed as a software engineer.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. All right, let's dive in. A little bit of context setting, I think, before we dive into some of the details. All of us are affiliated with different groups. Obviously, this is a Latinx Heritage Month celebration, but we all come from different backgrounds and share different experiences. I am, as you guys can see, a woman in tech. I am now a 50-plus aged woman in tech, and that has its challenges and things that I've experienced. I would love if maybe we could just quickly go around to this group and you could share your personal journey in tech as a minority individual.
Anybody starts first?
Yeah, anyone, Paula.
Well, I has just been kind of like, this is my first year in the career. I started in the line program. And right now I just started my first semester in the master. What I had noticed is like, there is not a lot of like Latin people in the industry, especially women. So like, I don't know how to. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. You have the double challenge of not a lot of women and not a lot of Latin women.
Yeah, it's still like, I had noticed that like at least in school, like everybody is really supportive and trying to kind of like help me out, like especially because my background is not anything related with computer science specifically. So, but like I have found a lot of support, like if I need to take a stuff, slow down and everything, they kind of like teachers or even the same, my same classmates help me with that. But yeah, I haven't seen that many like people, Latin people in my, I don't know.
Ricardo, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think today there are many ways to go to be a data scientist. So, sorry, I was answering a question in the chat and I got lost.
I was just asking for
maybe Jose can continue and then I will take over.
You know, my
okay.
I was trying to remember when I started to kind of I have to tell that story to my kids one day. But it's true that when I was about to, decide if to go to college or not, I remember that I kind of start work, and I never was sure about it. I'm the first generation college student, and I wasn't sure what to do. Okay, so and I would never thought that at some point I would do in computer science. So I get accepted, and I kind of joined the university. And I was surprised in many ways about the computer science. I never thought that, by then but it was completely different than what we have now, but still computer science. So I thought, I got engaged with a lot of things that are, coding. I liked that. I like the, some kind of a creativity that coding always has, how to do things. And one thing that I kind of engaged me for, I would say forever, it was kind of this field is a field that is always kind of moving. If you stay in one place, things are going to move ahead of you. And so that continued learning that I discovered when I went to college, that was something that for me opened my eyes. I liked that. I surprisingly, I thought that this is something I like to do. And computer science gave me that and still give me that today. So, I didn't think too much about industry or jobs when I was doing my degree. But definitely I remembered when I finished and I got a first job, that it felt so empowered, because I thought that finally, with this computer science, having that background, definitely empowers me to do many other things. And when I got a job, that was even better, because I learned something that it was, you know, in high demand, and that kind of was kind of a dream come true, you know, for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so
Pablo, anything to share?
if I can,
Oh, Ricardo.
now I got my thoughts back. So when I entered university, I basically didn't know computers. So that means how well I am, but the computers were expensive at that time. So I only saw a computer first time in my first year at university, when I had to take the programming course.
And Ricardo, what kind of computer was that?
In a whole room, I believe.
No, really, this will be like many people will laugh, but we was in theory computer, because we had to write the programs in paper, and someone will put those programs on the computer. I think the computer was an IBM 360 or 370, and I didn't saw it until like my third year of university. I finally saw the big computer. So before I interacted by paper or by cards, but I never had a terminal. It was very hard to get a terminal, but there were very few terminals. So everything was like a theory. But for example, programming, I really love programming. I really, as Jose said, I love the logic of algorithms, and my lab is algorithms. And then I still did electrical engineering, because there was no computer engineering really. But at the end, I did a bachelor in computer science, because I really I wanted to be an engineer, but I really love computer science, and that's why I did my master and my PhD in computer science. And then naturally with the web, so I started with search, but with the web entering search engines, and then naturally went to data mining. And basically, I have been a data scientist from before the term existed, because I have been dealing with data the last 30 years. So I think what also was said, so just to finish, I think that this learning to learn is something also, like Jose said, I love that. I mean, I like to be continuously learning. I mean, I don't want to stop learning.
So Ricardo, that's actually a great transition to our next question. You span both worlds, right? So you have the privilege of seeing things as a faculty member, but also as someone who is a professional, a leader in industry. So how have things evolved? Maybe we can skip forward 20 or 30 years from paper programming, but what are the expectations of candidates coming in, of grad school versus undergraduate degrees? We see a few questions already in chat for this. What should people expect?
Yeah, I would say that today, what people expect is a flexibility, exactly what we were talking, like that you are not expected to know everything, but you are expected to learn whatever is needed. And today, with internet also, you can do that in many different ways that before were impossible. So how many people learn by themselves using video in the web? And I think this is the most important thing. And there are so many ways to learn that, of course, like doing a master's is one of the best ways to do it.
That's absolutely true. I think that, the sort of lifelong learning, whether it's on your own or in whatever your environment is critical. And I guess I would assume that there are ways that you sort of tease that out when you're actually interviewing people, because the skills is just the kind of baseline to get in the front door of a job interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Pablo, you changed careers. We already see a bunch of questions about your change. You're not a failed economist. You did that to move beyond that into something else. How did you make the decision to go back to school, to get a master's degree? I know when I think about that, it's really intimidating to not only go into a new field, but to go back and try and get another degree. How did you prepare yourself academically, financially for the life change?
So I think I originally intended to go back for like a PhD or a master's degree in economics. And who was it? Someone was chatting with, Jonathan was talking about this, the opportunity cost. I started looking into it. I knew I wanted to do it. I started preparing for it, took the GRE, started doing more math, all the stuff you'd think. And when it came down to it, I looked at, okay, if I get into this program, what are the things I can do? Can I actually do things I'd be interested in? And economics is like ridiculously competitive. It didn't look good. So then I thought, okay, I know I want to go back to school. I want to, advance my career. What is like related to this? What is something that I can do to do things that I'd be interested, like to have work that I'd be interested in doing? And, economics and I guess it's largely dictated by like what kind of data you can have. So I was always familiar with like statistics and stuff like that. I looked into getting like a data science degree, but computer science seemed to be a little bit more general. So I kind of went for that. If that answers the question, it was like already anticipated for me for a long time. So I had been saving up money. I had been doing research. I had, kind of made up my mind a long time ago before I ended up kind of at the last minute deciding, okay, let's see if I can do something else and do work that's like more meaningful to me.
So it wasn't a quick decision on your part. It was something that you spent a lot of time considering.
No. And I also ended up like considering like the boot camp thing. When I finally decided I'm going to do data science or computer science, like I looked into that. I tried to do like a bunch of online courses, started applying to see if like to get a gauge for like what the market's like. And I ended up choosing like a degree because of like the feedback and my experience with that kind of approach to it myself.
Yeah, there is something to be said for doing the deep dive over a continued period of time versus trying to learn something in a really short period of time. You just don't kind of internalize it, and then it's hard to apply it to skills or questions, even when you're going in for job interviews. So Paula, you are in the middle of this.
Yeah.
Maybe the beginning. You've changed careers. How did you decide to go into the Align program? Or maybe you can walk us through what you're experiencing right now as someone that is learning new things. Probably some of it's scary, some of it's unfamiliar.
Well, I think I was actually just meant to be, in general, to be in computer science from the beginning. My whole family is computer science. They're all engineers, and like I'm the only one that I chose like something different. I think it was also because it sounded scary. Like when you see the math and you see what they're working on, it's like, how are you understanding that? So I chose like kind of like go more to the artistic part because I always kind of like the drawing and everything. But then like when I was in graphic design, I took some 3D modeling classes and animation classes, which pushed me to my next study, which was 3D modeling for games. Mm-hmm. And then I decided that I wanted to, I'm going to do some scripting class, like just to have the knowledge of like just in case, like just to know more about the pipeline, about my career. That's when I was like, oh, it just hit me that I really enjoy it, like doing the programming part. I really like the logistics that programming involves and everything. And it's just not just throwing code. It's just like what you want to build. What is like, where you like what is the answer that you want to get, and what is like the method that you're going to approach to it. So after I finished my bachelor's and I worked for a while, I was like, okay, I would like to do computer science. And I thought about like, okay, but I don't want to do another bachelor's. It would be great to do a master's. And then like I saw the opportunity in Northeastern that they have this program of the Align program that it said that it will be really intense the first year, and it is. But it's still doable. It's just you're just trying to catch up to the stuff that you miss in your bachelor's, and it has been, for me, in my experience, it has been fun. It has been like challenge. Some days I was like, I just want to like, oh my God. But like some days it feels great after like you are like struggling, and everybody struggles with this career, even the people that did the bachelor's. But you feel great that even though that you're struggling and you're in an intense program, after you overcome that challenge, and mm-hmm. and kind of like you have the results of what you work on. And it's like, okay, I did it, and I was able to do it in this short period of time. So I don't know. This is how I got here, and it's a I'm really enjoying the experience.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, I so admire your passion and your dedication, and obviously your perseverance. It is, like you said, it's challenging, but that's part of the excitement. And I think that is why so many people go into this field. You know, when I was at Yahoo, we used to joke with the Yahoo search team that the thing they love about it is that you're never done, right? Yeah. It's not like you ever finish the product and ship it.
Every time that you finish, you've learned something. It's like, oh, I already learned. No, now I need to learn these 10 things. It's like, okay.
That's exactly right. So, Jose, it's a great question for you. You have been teaching for a long time. I am sure that, you know, the pace of change, especially in our industry, is so fast. How do you both change your teaching style and the curriculum to make sure that it's, you know, sort of the job ready skills? And how do you prepare students for that rapid pace of change?
We do our best, honestly. So it's difficult, you know, because things are moving so fast, and it's difficult even for us to catch up. You know, one thing that happened in you know, probably in my classes is that I mean, not only me, but many people came to cyber because they love the hacking, you know, the dark side of the cybersecurity skill. And, you know, that is exactly something where you don't have a guide about how to do it. You have to be creative. You have to be able to find definitely ways that nobody found before. You know, we used to, so that's a great learning for us also. You know, we have to catch up with those techniques that the hackers are doing. So what we try definitely for students is, I believe that probably, you know, a high percentage of the students coming to cyber, they got attracted by that side, okay? But at the end, you know that not, you know, most of the work, all the jobs out there are defensive side, okay? So, you know, we try to tell them that even if it's difficult to be a hacker, it's even more difficult to become a good defender, a good cybersecurity professional. You know what they say, that hackers, I don't say that it's easy, honestly. I was always so bad in hacking, so, but it's true that what they say is that you have to find one single weakness in order to be a hacker, okay? And when you become a cybersecurity professional, you need to protect the whole thing. You have to find any vulnerability, any weakness, you have to fix all of that. So this kind of preparation, it's something that we do in our classes. We try to, you know, expose our students to what it can be done, okay, all those hacking techniques, and then we try to solve those problems and find countermeasures and anything. But no matter what happened, and coming to your question, no matter what we teach them here, they have to be able to figure out how to solve the new vulnerabilities, the new hacks that is going to be coming there. So as we were saying before, also Paula was saying about that, you know, this is continuous learning, and we have to learn definitely how to learn. I mean, this is a big thing that we have in computer science.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of both to Jose and Ricardo, and playing off that, Jose, for technical screeners, when, you know, students are actually going for interviews, how quickly do those evolve? And I would assume that, you know, these real world scenarios that you're talking about kind of come into play in things like that. How can students sort of lay the foundation for being able to go into any technical screener or any job interview and feel comfortable?
So, Jose, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ricardo, yes.
So I was just answering something very similar to one of the people attending, and I have a problem because I don't like how the system is working right now. I think the system is focusing too much on specific tools, and then you need to learn how things work today, the latest trend, whatever it is. But sometimes it's very hard to distinguish concepts from implementation of those concepts in different tools. Mm-hmm. And I think then you don't learn the right thing. For example, you learn how TensorFlow did it, or you learn how PyTorch did it, but you don't learn how you should do it, which is not always the same and different. So you enter in this a bit more like a black box paradigm, which mm-hmm. is not good for anyone. So that's why I think this is where formal education helps to distinguish the concepts with what really you need to apply those concepts when you are working.
You know, according to that, Ricardo, just completing what you said, So I saw that in our students too. They have to prepare for very specific topics, and but that's and it's true because companies want to have them ready to work. If they know that tool, they're going to be ready to go. We don't have to give any training or something like that. But what I see is that our students, because they know that, for right or wrong, they learn, they kind of prepared a lot for those meetings and those interviews. And they were able to get there because they had that foundation in, hopefully they learned that with us. And they're definitely prepared and be able to respond to those questions. And they prepared that in, I don't know, in 5 days. So this is something they have to face. And I believe that, hopefully we're preparing them with this foundation that can help them to learn very fast.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Pablo, what was it? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that transition of coming out of your master's program, and then can you harken back to your first month or two on the job and what that mind shift was like from being in an academic, technical setting to suddenly you're in a team and you're actually delivering against projects?
It kind of felt the same. The context changes a lot, grades versus or like an academic setting versus like a professional setting, but it wasn't really that much of a transition. The tools were completely different. I think for me, the biggest shift was I had been focusing on data science for a lot of my, the last year or so. So I was rusty with the more object-oriented languages. So that was a big, I had to relearn a lot of stuff the first month or so. A lot of tools that are specific to the job, things like that. But I'd say it's more similar than different overall. Going back, you were asking about what employers are looking, and this is just a small sample in his mind, but I'd say there's definitely a lot of interest in getting you off the ground and running, but a lot of times they're looking for stuff that's analogous. They know that you might not know this, but you know this and it's close enough, and they're willing to work and say, okay, we'll let you come on. We expect you to learn this, but you probably can. I guess that's what their assumption is, because they're close enough, and you have a master's degree, you have all this experience, and you have a portfolio or whatever, but
yeah,
yeah, it wasn't too bad.
I'm gonna take that as a prop to Northeastern, but I'm sure it's a prop to you too. One of the things that is, I think, in our industry in particular, absolutely critical is your ability to network. And that is at all levels of your career or your education. Paula, just is applicable to you, sort of starting off in a new field as all of us. This is a question to everyone. Can you give some advice to everyone that's on this call? Everyone here is not necessarily in Silicon Valley. We've got folks from all over California, from Boston, from all over. But how do you make connections and how do you create a powerful network? Anyone want to jump in?
So
Nope.
I can.
Nobody.
I think, I have a huge connection in LinkedIn and in many ways. So I think if you like to learn and you like to travel, you like to attend conferences, you like to attend even meetups, you like to attend panels like this one, you can meet a lot of people and try to connect with them. So some people do this systematically. I think I try to do that, connecting all the people I meet, but some people don't. And I think if you're systematic about it, at the end, you never know when a connection is useful, and even having more friends is always useful.
Yep, absolutely.
I think that networking definitely starts with your classmates, particularly you are in a master program. That's where the things are starting. And all those conferences or meetings, seminars, that's definitely making a huge impact in your network. One thing that probably, I don't know how, but probably you can apply that sure in any other field of data science, of computer science. But in cyber, we have all these competitions. Capture the flag, cyber leagues, and so what I like about that, and I feel that those also plays a very important role in how these students create a network, and it's because most of them you need to have a team to participate in a contest, wherever it is, and that's definitely making not only linking with the guys that are in your school or in your college, but also meeting other people. You meet there also companies, government, manufacturers. They are probably promoting those contests, so those things are also very useful.
Absolutely. Pablo, Paula, anything you would like to add?
I just agree with Jose. I think it starts in the classroom, especially in the line program. I have noticed that everybody wants to stick together, help each other, know more people. Is kind of like you create your own community. Because at the end, I feel that everybody is in the same kind of like, I don't know if this is, but like in the same bag. Like everybody always like try to learn a little bit more, and like maybe you always have a friend that knows something that you want to learn about, and that friend wants to help you. Because for some reason, I have noticed, I don't know, as a computer science professional, we like to teach. Like once we have some knowledge, we get so excited about it that it's like, oh, like you don't understand it, let me help you. But this is easy, just like, and you just find like, because you get excited about it and you get the other person excited, and you just start like doing that, and you start just sharing this connection with them. So even as a student, I had just been just 1 year, like I can feel it.
I love that point, Paula, because I think it's so spot on. We are all so passionate in our field, and we love talking about what we do.
Especially, I just want to say, especially you love to teach great students like Paula. So that makes a difference.
Bravo. It's true. So that is a really powerful connection that you already have, Paula.
And this is interesting maybe for people. I have taught in a line, and it's very interesting that we have a gender parity and even women majority in a line. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Because then you have people that have the same issues as you, and you learn from them.
Yeah.
I love that fact, Ricardo. Thank you for bringing it up. We do have gender parity in our line program, and it's something that we're very proud of. I think, one of the things that I have found is that the key to networking is just connection and authenticity, right? So, Paula, you have your classmates, and that's a real connection. And when you look, to your right and your left on Zoom, or when you used to be sitting next to them, you don't know where any of those people are going to go. They're going to do their own startups. They're going to be executives. They're going to, be in really cool companies that you might want to partner with. And so, you want to create real relationships. I have a story that I love to share. I was attending a conference, and it was a globally, webcast conference. It was with Ashwin Ram. And at the time, he was the head of AI at Amazon. Now I believe he's an executive doing AI at Google. And he said, look, I will connect with anyone on LinkedIn, any of the, probably 50,000 people that are watching, if you take the time to give me a reason to connect. If you send me one of those notes that says I was, browsing profiles and we should talk, I will not. But, if you look at my background, if you see something interesting, if you reach out as a person that wants to talk to me about something in my field, I'm going to connect. So I guess that would just be something I would, sort of share with everyone on this call. There's plenty of opportunities out there. You just need to be like sort of smart and authentic about it.
And just try it out. Like I had like one of the seminars that came to the school. I have this guy from Google that he was just like here, you have my LinkedIn, and like he gives his LinkedIn without any problem. But he was like, send me a message, let's go to some coffee, and like I would love to talk. So everybody's like that open, like if you take a step and do it, like most people will be open to like chat with you and help you in whatever you need.
Yep, I totally applaud that, Paula. And I will also say that, it might be something that a lot of you, a lot of us are really uncomfortable with. I mean, people laugh when I tell them that at my core I'm an extrovert. My team doesn't believe me, but when I'm at work, I channel my my inner. I'm an introvert, and I channel my inner extrovert because that's just what you need to do. I'm interested, Ricardo and Jose, or actually any of you. What are technologies that you are excited about? I think there's a lot of questions in the chat about specializations and different career paths. Are there things that are sort of top of mind that you see as up and coming, super cool?
I think Jose will mention his master, which I think is a very important. So I will leave the security part for him. But I think in data science itself, which data science is a very large field because it includes math, statistics, computer science, even maybe depending on where you go, like things like psychology and so on. Mm-hmm. I would say that what I see, for example, here in the Valley is anything related to biotech, so applications in e-health, in genomics. A lot of startups working on that. So, for example, if you learn how to manage, say, genomic data or any omics data, proteomics and so on, I think this will be an advantage to find a job. And the same I can see, not as strong as health, but fintech. So basically, data science applied to finance, because basically today data science applies to everything. Signed before a large goal.
Got it.
Yeah, in the program, for example, I'm just trying because there are so many fields moving, and but we adjust because we have to not only update the courses we have to create new courses. So we a year ago we created new courses in and those fields we feel that are not only interesting for us, that also kind of the companies are looking for that kind of skills in our students. So we created courses in IoT, so Internet of Things. We also intensify what we already had in cloud security, and because our program, the program in cybersecurity, also has a holistic approach. We also like to see what we call contextual or political side or procedures management. We also included GDPR, which is the new regulation for privacy, and compliance also. So those topics, I believe, that are now in high demand by the industry, definitely.
Great points. Pablo, anything, Paula, that you're seeing as you've gone through your different classes that's really interesting? Or Pablo, you mentioned some maybe languages or things that you're keen to learn.
It's kind of a side note, but I think for me, I was always interested in data science, like I mentioned earlier. I think the big thing coming up is, I think it's an umbrella term. I'm not sure if everyone uses it, but explainable AI. Like a lot of companies are making these really complex, like non-linear models to make decisions, right? And they work. Usually they get pretty good results. But why did this come? Like why does it actually produce a result? And what does it mean if we rely on it? And like especially in financial stuff, you run into like regulations around, for example, like lending laws and discrimination. And if you have an algorithm that's great at, like, I don't know, producing or originating loans that have low default rates, but it's discriminating against a protected class, that's a big deal. And like it's a small example on the side, but these things are becoming, they're everywhere. No one really understands or has a good way of like explaining them that I've seen. And if you're looking into data science, I would check that part out and see if I would be interested in that if I was going to do it again.
You can still do it.
May I add something to that? Because, because I work on that, and I think that's a great topic, and also is related to what Jose mentioned. So GDPR, which is the privacy law of the European Union, in Article 22 has the right to contest. And basically, to contest if a supporting decision means that you need to give an explanation. So by law, you need to give the explanation. further from a nation like organic food in the basically a very nice book called basically how we design algorithms that don't discriminate people, especially for health, education, finance, and for taking automatic or even semi-automatic decisions that don't harm people. So that's a great topic for fairness.
Thanks, Ricardo. We were losing you a bit on that, or maybe it was just me. So we have, that's okay. We have about 5 minutes left. I know that Ricardo has been multitasking like a madman and answering the chat, making us all look really bad, Ricardo.
Yeah.
But if folks want to throw any questions into the chat for the last few minutes for any of our panel here, let's see, I can just sort of moderate them. How should students balance the benefits of education with the enormous debt horizon when scholarships, grants are not in the cards? This decision can be difficult for low to mid-income families. Ricardo's already in there. Awesome.
Yeah, sorry, I'm answering the questions.
Yeah, Christopher, I hope that answered your question. Any other thoughts or questions? I know I saw one earlier on.
I didn't answer. Yeah, I didn't answer Christopher's question. I answered other questions. So maybe Hillary, you should answer Christopher's question about scholarships and grants. I think it's perfect for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It is increasingly difficult. I think that one of the things as a university that we are doing and that corporations as a whole are doing is we are trying to work more and more on scholarships. So outside of the traditional, student loan programs, corporate sponsorship, corporate scholarships, alternative programs. So for instance, we just launched a new program, which is actually a certificate. So a certificate that can lead to internships and other paid opportunities where then you can transition more easily into some of these programs. So I think there is no easy answer to this. There are, obviously online courses that are options, which I've seen chat about, Coursera and Udacity, that certainly have legitimacy with corporate partners in terms of getting jobs. And so that's an option to explore. I think that the key with those programs, and again, I saw this in the chat, is, as Paula was saying, you have to do your own learning on top of that. It is harder to make those connections, but you can do it. So in those, online environments, and we see it now with Zoom, you need to create your own groups. You need to network with those people, and you really need to push yourself on the practical application side of things. So I know that's not a fabulous answer, but certainly it is something that all institutions are struggling with, as well as obviously learners. Any other questions? I think there was a question earlier on about managing transitions, which I think we have talked about a little bit. I would say, just that transitions are complicated. If whoever posted that wants to add a little bit more detail, I think that is one of the powers of networking, deciding what you want to do and where you want to do it. Talk to people that are doing it, right? Talk to people that are in these different jobs and see if it sparks interest, see if you're passionate about it. You don't have to have a full knowledge of the area. Just go out there and talk to folks that are already doing it.
One thing I believe that we said that before, but now listening Pablo before, I was thinking, sometimes you may think that if you don't have, a kind of computer science or technical degree, it is something that may play at some point against you. It is definitely not the case. I can assure you that in cyber for sure, because all these different backgrounds and different skills are really in high demand for, companies need definitely all this different approach to the problems. So if you feel that because you did chemistry or finance or whatever, and that's going to be playing against you, is absolutely not the case. It's going to be helping you if you add an extra of, whatever technical part you're taking. That's going to be helping you a lot, and you're going to have an extra value from many others like me that we just did computer science and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Jose, thank you so much for that. I think that, as a final note, that is a great point to leave on, and that's that whatever you have done before is going to aid you going into the field of technology. That is, we want code, we want programs, we want things that are built by diverse people that have life experience. We don't want it to be homogenous. So you should never view it as, you not having the experience to go into this. It's that you are bringing new experience into an area that values that diversity of experience.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know we're out of time, but any final words from our panel? Or final questions? We are at time, but all right. Well,
yeah.
I think Pablo had to jump. Paula, Ricardo, Jose, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our participants. I hope this was a valuable time for you. Make sure you connect with everyone in an authentic way. And please feel free to reach out to any of us panelists if you have any follow-up questions.